these learning goals, okay? So we are learning to measure our heart rate, okay? Some of you might have heard the word heart rate. Some of you might have heard the word pulse. I've got a word wall up here that I'm going to be adding to through the lesson. So if we're talking about words, topic-specific vocabulary, and you're not sure what it is, have a look up here and check if it's on the word wall, okay? The second thing we're going to be looking at is trying to develop an understanding that our heart rate adapts, okay? That means that our heart rate can possibly change depending on the conditions. Thirdly, we're applying some maths concepts. Some of these maths concepts we've already learned about. Some of them we haven't, okay? Averages, fractions, and there might be mention of some percentage work in there as well, okay? Not if you have heard of some of those concepts before. I know you have. All right, the last thing we're going to be looking at is planning and collecting accurate data. And that word accurate, as you'll be finding, is a really, really important word that we're going to be coming back to today. All right? So straight away, I'm going to put a couple of words on our word wall. Adapt. Do you remember what adapt means?
Yep.
Yeah? What does adapt mean? Connor?
It means to like settle, almost like when an animal adapts to a climate, it means it settles in the climate it gets used to.
I like that example. So it changes to suit its surroundings, doesn't it? To fit its environment. The other one that I wanted to put up there was pulse. Okay, have you guys heard that word before? Pulse? What did pulse mean? What did pulse mean? Quinn?
It means like, so right here in your wrist, there's a little like thing that sort of beats like your heart.
Okay.
And it's called your pulse.
All right, beautiful.
If you're dead and you don't have one.
If you're dead, you don't have one. We'll be checking our pulse today. I'm pretty sure you guys all have one. If we can find them or not, that's the question. Okay. So we're going to start by activating some prior knowledge, okay? Now you know what we're learning today and this week. I want you all to please close your eyes, okay? Close your eyes tight. And I want you to think of a time where your heart was beating fast. Your heart was racing. Maybe you could feel your heart pounding in your chest. Maybe you could hear your heart thumping in your ears. Have you got that time in your minds? Perfect. Okay. I'd like you to open your eyes now. And we are going to do something that we call a hot potato. There are going to be 4 different body outlines just in the different corners around the classroom. And each body outline has a different question, okay? Based on that time that you were imagining, what did you feel during that time when your heart was racing, when your heart was pounding in your chest? What did you hear? That's the yellow one. What did you hear during that time? How would you describe your emotions? That's the blue one. That time that you're thinking of when your heart was racing. How would you describe your emotions? And finally, and this is probably the toughest thing to think about, during that time, what do you think was happening to or in your body? Okay, so we've got red here, we've got yellow here. What have you got, Blaze?
Blue.
What colour? Blue. And we've got green here. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to grab something to write with in a moment. It could be a pen or a pencil. Leave your tubs, close your tubs for now. I'm going to tell you where to go first. What we might do is we might have from Patty to Kira, starting with the back corner here. And remember, we only have 2 minutes to record the information on each one before we do a hot potato and swap, okay? We might have from Sage and Edward, so you 8 on Blaze's one there, the blue. We might have the whole front row on this one with Pat. And then we might have from Esther, and then you guys and Quinn on this one over in the corner. Does that make sense? Give me a thumb up if you know where you are starting. Point to your starting hot potato rotation. Excellent. We're going to be rotating, excuse me. Shh, shh, shh. Excellent. Good listening. We're going to be rotating clockwise, okay? So Quinn's group will be rotating to Kira's group, who will be rotating to Blazer's group, and so on and so on. Okay, thumbs up if that makes sense. Great. Do you still have that visualization in your head?
Yeah.
Great. I want to know what you felt, what you heard, what your emotions were feeling, and what was happening perhaps in your body. Grab a pencil and let's go to our first hot potato station. What do we have to do, guys?
You have to write down what you
How do you feel now? Or
feel when you.
when your heart was racing, right? Good. So tired? Good. Do you want to add that last letter there? Actually, I might start you off here, you know? Just so you're in a different one to Blaze. Have you got a pencil or a pen?
Yeah.
Great. All right, can you quickly get it out for me? All right. Now, what do you want to ask me?
Where was I starting?
You can start here. And during that time that you were imagining, what did you feel? Yeah, you can write as many things as is applicable. 1 more minute.
Okay, I love that. I was doing it right. What was your body? What was happening in your body when that happened? Good. Write it down. What was that? You were
You felt
breathing
happy,
hard.
you felt scared. Interesting, interesting. So you're talking about your emotions.
Okay,
Yeah,
so cross
okay.
country, you were breathing hard. Was your heart beating fast? Not much. You must be very.
Oh, has that happened to you before? Has it really? Is that the time that you were imagining? Yeah, so look, if you maybe felt like that, that would be the word, unconscious.
Pen in your tub?
It's mine.
All right, so what did you hear?
La 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 la.
Oh, that's
Shh, 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 shh. All right, guys, just quickly finish writing what you're writing and then stand up and face me. 2, 1. Beautiful, Sage. Well done. So we're about to rotate, and you might have the same ideas that the group before you have. Okay? So if you guys, for example, Edward, come to what did you feel, and you agree with a comment that's already here, do you need to write it again? Just give it a tick. Just 1 tick if you agree with it. Okay? And then you can maybe only write original thoughts. So when we go and rotate, I want you to read first, okay? And then either tick or write. Point to your next place. And let's go. 2 more minutes.
All right, this one's easy. What did you hear when you were thinking of that thing that you did there? What did you hear at that time? What was going on when you were here?
Let's take a deep dive.
All right, so what activity?
I'm glad you're reading first, Harley. Well done. How would you describe your emotions? Yes, absolutely you can.
They were sweating hard, they were breathing fast.
Is tired an emotion?
Breathing fast. So what are the things you agree
Is it?
with?
I don't know.
It's not like a full emotion.
Now, do you know what I saw?
Okay, so it's maybe could be an emotion, but it's a bit different somehow.
It's like you're asleep on the bed.
It is something we can feel, though, isn't it? Okay. How are we going, guys? Have we ticked anything here? You can write anywhere you like, outside the body, inside the body. Did you write this one here? That's very expressive. Yeah. So you must have been, your body must have been working really hard.
Breathless cross country.
Oh yeah, that's about basketball. I studied arrow.
All right, 10 seconds, guys. Just finish your final comment. And standing at your station. Who's ready first? Great, Pat. Ripper. All right. Great. Well, I was just pointing at Sage because this is the second time that I've seen her just doing the right thing. Good on you, Blaze. All right, let's go to our third rotation, guys. So, how is this different to the last one? Because the last one said, what were your emotions? And this one says, what did you feel? How are they different? What are your emotions? How did you feel? So that's going from our previous conversation about how maybe tired is an emotion. All right. And yeah, that one does say unconscious, which is pretty extreme, isn't it? That must have been a very intense physical activity. Quinn, just stick with your group, buddy. Miles, have you written or ticked anything here yet? Yeah.
Jointed fingers.
Guys, can we talk about what's important here? What have we added to this page? Oh, I like that.
I kicked a lot of stuff.
Right.
What does that mean? What is that?
10 more seconds, guys. Last chance. You're all done? Beautiful. La 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 la. All right. Guys. Connor. Beautiful. Just a reminder why we're doing this and the purpose of today. Remember the purpose of today, learning here. Okay, this is what we're looking for. All right, please try to be one of those people who ignores and can overcome some of those distractions. You might like to think about some of the coping skills that we talked about earlier on this week. All right, we've got one more station to look at. Quickly go, and 2 more final minutes. Oh yeah. Can you get onto it? There we go.
I just got the memo.
Bring yourself back down, Blaze, okay? So what does this one say? What are we looking for here, guys? What did you hear? Excellent. Sorry? You heard yelling? Really? Wow. What did you hear? What did you hear from your body? Because there are a lot of external things here, aren't there? Did you hear anything internally? Your heart thumping? Is that something that you can hear sometimes? Where did you hear your heart thumping? In your ear? Interesting. All right, last opportunity, guys. 10 more seconds to finish what you have got in that head of yours. Beautiful. And I'm going to ask that you just make yourself comfortable sensibly at your station. So if you are near a chair, you can just sit your bottom in that chair. If you're just on the mat in front, you can just kneel down. Shh. No, leave them. Okay. Now, we're going to do a little report back. And I had an interesting conversation up the back here with Sage. And this one up the back, the question was, what did you hear? And there are some comments on that one that are quite literal and quite interesting. Dylan, you said that you heard your mum ask if you're okay. And there's also one that made me chuckle. They heard the music going. So that memory from that person who wrote that comment must have been a playtime memory, maybe doing Team Up Tiggy or footy on the oval or something like that. Then you heard the music going and that was the sound that you heard. And then I asked that group, what internal sounds did you hear? And then Sage, you said that you heard your heart thumping in your ear when you had that physical stressful exercise. So what I'd like you to do is have another look at the comments on your station, and I want maybe one person to report back some of the things that are on that poster about the body and how the body emotes or shows what's happening during that physical activity, during that time where your heart was racing. What is your body, what sounds do you hear? What emotions do you feel when your heart is racing? See if you can focus on some of those internal comments rather than things that are happening externally. Does that make sense? Okay. So I'm going to give you maybe 30 seconds as a team to have a look and maybe circle a couple of good comments, and we're going to have one person read them out at the end. What are we looking to circle? Can you head back to your group, please?
We find one that says that.
All right, make sure you get a voice, okay, buddy? No. Sorry? You broke a bit of your tooth. What were you doing to do that? When you feel with your tongue, what do you feel? Can you show me? Like sand? Show me. Open your mouth. Open your mouth. Open your mouth. Do you want to check in the mirror and come back? Yeah. I can't tell. Vic, can you go with Arav, please? All right. 3, 2, 1. And can I get everyone just bobbing back down where they were before? Beautiful. Just in your groups, guys. Just in your groups. Thank you. Beautiful. Now I would love one brave risk taker just to share 1 or 2 things that you circled, hands down. We might start with what did you feel? Who's got that poster? What did you feel? Quinn, would you like to be the speaker for your group? Big loud voice.
We circled nervous, we circled dizzy, we circled someone circled like I was gonna die.
Okay, stop there. Did you hear all those guys? Nervous, dizzy, like I was going to die. So that last one is pretty intense, isn't it? Thank you, Quinn, and well done, team. What about yellow? What did you hear? Edward, would you like to be the reader?
Heart pumping really fast. My inner voice insulting me. Huffing and puffing.
All right, stop there. So heart pumping, huffing and puffing. Interesting. Sage, you said that you heard your heart thumping in your ear. Where else can you hear your heart pumping? Where else can you hear your heart pumping? Ishelle? Maybe in your neck? Okay. Remember, we're talking about hearing, not feeling with our finger. I know we were talking about pulse before, so we might be confusing the two there. What do you think, Edward? You can hear it in your thumb?
No, as in like it feels.
Feel it through your body. So that might be a green comment rather than a yellow one. Let's move down to blue then. How would you describe your emotions during that time? We've got Pat, Nikita, and Soraya. Soraya, would you like to read there?
Unconscious.
Wow.
Nervous.
Nervous, right. Can I do some over-the-shoulder reading? Nervous and scared. I wonder if the people who wrote that were feeling scared because they didn't know what was happening when their heart was racing, or their heart was racing because they were nervous. That can happen sometimes, can't it? Thanks, team. What about Reds? Who's our last group? Gemma, would you like to report back? Listen, everyone. Mm-hmm. Okay. 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 Arav, did you hear that? No? Can we read that again a little bit louder? Remember, guys, this is what's happening in your body according to you all. Big loud voice.
I felt hot, my heart thumping. I was very tense and thinking I was going to fall.
Wow, okay, so some negative emotions is maybe happening in our body. Our heart is thumping faster, our heart is thumping more, and we're getting hotter. Yeah, as our heart is racing, our temperature rises. Is that what that suggests? Okay, interesting, beautiful. I'm going to ask now that you turn your piece of paper over and look up to me. Just stay where you are. And you'll notice there are two questions there. And I'm really curious to know what you know about these two things that I want to find out. Okay? So one thing that we said that we were going to be doing was measuring our heart rate, measuring our pulse. And I want to know some prior knowledge from you guys. What do you already know about measuring heart rate? And why does our heart rate increase and decrease? Why does, when we exercise, our heart thump more? Why does our heart get louder and we hear it in our ears? Why do we feel more heat? Why does our face get hot? Why does our temperature rise? Why do we get hot? Okay? So why does our heart rate increase or decrease? And what do you already know about measuring that heart rate? Okay? So again, I'm looking for a team effort. Just write down what you know. We're not going to do a swap. So everything that you put down on your poster is from your team's point of view. Okay? All right. Does that make sense? Let's do it. Feeling your wrist? Can we be specific? Where do we feel on our wrist? And I can see Kira doing it now. Can you do it in your neck? Like here? No? Here? On the side? Is that something that you guys know about? Feeling a pulse on your neck? This is new to you. Cool. All right. Can we add some detail here? Are you the scribe, Andy? Who wants to scribe? Kira? Beautiful. So, what do you already know? What do you already know about measuring your heart rate? What do you guys already know about that? Arav, what do we already know about measuring our heart rate? Arav, okay, it's not a big deal, buddy. It's a small problem. What do we know about measuring our heart rate? Have you guys heard the word heart rate before? Yes. Have you had your heart rate measured? Yes. Have you? How did it happen?
Wait, no, I haven't.
You haven't? Do you know someone who's measured their heart rate before? How did they do it?
They take like a sample of your blood.
Oh, wow.
And then, they put something on your arm.
Put something on your arm?
And then they can tell how high you're.
So you need some special equipment. Should we write that down?
I just use it using my Apple Watch.
Yeah? What do you mean using your Apple Watch?
Using my dad. There's an Apple.
Oh, do you want to write that one down, Arav? Using your Apple Watch?
My dad's.
Where do you put your watch to measure your heart rate?
My dad's watch.
Where do you put your watch to measure your heart rate?
Just everywhere.
You put it on your nose, on your chin. Where do you put it?
You put it on your wrist.
On your wrist.
Like a normal watch.
A normal watch.
Like a normal watch. You just put it
Oh, just where the watch already is. Ah, so you don't need to put it anywhere special. Great. Do you want to write that down, Arav? Beautiful.
electronics.
No, do both. Do both, guys. Do both. Excuse me.
You can put my fingers in my ear. Show me. How do I do that?
Okay, guys, if you haven't had a go at the second question, have a go at the second question now. Have a go at the second question now, guys. Why does the heart rate increase or decrease?
Because you're so if you've been running, it's increasing because it needs to have more blood around your body because you've just been running.
Listen, guys, did you hear that? Who's scribing?
Two fingers. What's the right way?
Can you write? Yeah. So Harley just said, do you want to repeat that, Harley? We're going down here now, guys. Why does the heart rate increase or decrease? Because when you exercise,
Say you're running, it increases its speed to pump more blood around the body.
Why does your heart rate?
yeah. So you need more blood, or you need more of something else.
You need more blood into your lungs so it can put more oxygen into your...
Yeah.
Because you're breathing really quickly.
Ah, so you need more oxygen, and the heart pumps more blood, and therefore more oxygen. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Do you already know that your heart rate decreases when you sleep? Do you? We all ready, guys? Oh, the last one? 30 more seconds. Why does your heart rate increase or decrease? Why does it beat faster or slower? Should I put those words on the word wall? Increase and decrease? Right. Right. So we're talking about emotions here. All right.
Getting intense, your heart goes fast.
I like that word intense. What does intense mean? When things are intense. Yeah. Can you run in an intense way?
Yes.
Yeah. What does intense running look like?
Trying your hardest.
Like a sprint?
Yeah.
Ah. And does your heart rate get faster when you're running intensely? And when you have intense emotions as well? Thanks, guys. I'm going to write some of those words down now. Excuse me, please. La 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 la. Shh, 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 shh. Beautiful. Way to go, Dylan. Awesome. Guys, I'm going to ask for you just to finish recording what you are thinking. Okay, thank you to the scribes, the people who've been putting in an effort and recording and writing things down. And could I please get one person to bring that piece of paper to me? And everybody else, quickly find your seats. Thanks, Andy.
When's Mr. Cam coming in?
Thank you. And in 2 weeks, I think, Andy. Yeah. I thought he was going to be sooner.
Before you take it.
Wait, who gave me another one? I don't know anything.
I don't know anything. Give it up.
Right. Who's ready? Beautiful job, middle row. So guys, have a listen. I've just popped in a couple more words on our word wall. I was having a great conversation with the group in the back corner, and Pat and Vic and Nikita and the three of us were talking about the words increase and decrease. Increase meaning to
Get big.
more, and in the context of heart rate, faster, right? And decrease to less. And in the context of heart rate, slower. Good. So I've popped those words up here. So increase is more, faster, decrease is less, slower. And Vic, you were talking about intense, the word intense, and you were talking about emotions. Intense emotions like anger, fury, maybe extreme nerves, anxiety, and that could cause heart rate increase. But then we flip that to talk about maybe intense physical activity. Pat, what did we describe? Where are you sitting, Pat? Everything's moved around. What did you describe intense running as?
Going as hard as you can.
Yeah, like a sprint, like pelting. And that we imagine would increase our heart rate as well. Good. So we've got intense up there too. So guys, thanks for all of that information. You guys know when we start a new inquiry unit, I usually like to start with your prior learning, what you already know about the topic. So that's important information for us. Let's get on to the nitty-gritty, okay? We are going to try to come up with some ideas of how you could measure your heart rate. And I've already heard some good conversations, if you were a participant in that, of ideas of how we could measure our heart rate. So I'd love to pop some ideas on the board here, some things that we could maybe try today. All right?
So Davies, I reckon we should start over here. This group over here had such a lot of ideas on technique that maybe we could start over there because they had so many different ideas.
All right, so how could we measure our heart rate? Remember guys, one of the things I'm looking for is you guys being brave and taking risks and putting your hand up. Go on, Kira, well done.
You could measure with your wrist.
Measure with your wrist? How do you do that?
So you use one hand and put it on your wrist and you could feel it.
Okay, so you can feel your heart rate through your wrist. Okay, so hand on wrist, and you might be able to feel your heart rate, your pulse through your wrist. Excellent. Any other ideas? Great job, Kira. Miles, your neck.
No.
The same technique? Okay, put your hand on your neck. Somewhere on your neck. Does someone want to elaborate on that idea? Thanks, Miles. Quinn, you were speaking about the neck.
So if you put your hand here, you can feel it.
And I can see that you got 2 fingers out. Does everyone see what Quinn's doing there? So can we use some adjectives here? 2 fingers on what part of your neck?
So like where your cheek is,
Uh-huh.
you just go down to like the squishy like bit.
Below your
The squishy bit below your ear?
Below your ear.
Okay.
And then you just put 2 fingers on and press like relatively hard.
Okay, so 2 fingers pressed to neck below ear.
Yeah.
Okay, excuse my writing. All right, interesting.
Mr. Davies, I really like from a scientific perspective that he had the strategy of finding the cheek and then below the ear because we could all follow that instruction. And
Yeah.
scientifically that helps everyone do the same thing, Quinn. I like your thinking.
Well, going back to our Walt, remember, Blaze, that one of the things that we're looking for is accuracy, okay? So we do need to be explicit with our instructions and we need to be able to follow them. Thanks for your patience. Harley, you've had your hand up.
You probably don't do your hand because then you're just feeling the area. The goal is probably to use 2 fingers because it's more accurate.
Are you talking about the wrist?
Yeah.
Okay, so you'd change hands to 2 fingers again? Yeah. Do we want to be more specific with where we're holding the wrist?
Not really.
Not really?
I've just potlucked
It's like, it's kind
Sorry, can we have hands up, please? Kira?
Do I explain where to find it?
Yeah, please.
Like you go from your thumb and then you go further down on, I think it's on your right hand.
Right, so we're looking at the underside of our wrist, aren't we? Yeah, so from our thumb, the base of our thumb, and then we're going just up from there.
Yeah.
Yep. Can you describe that area of our wrist?
Like right where the wrist and your hand meet.
Ooh, I like that. Right where the wrist and the hand meet. Beautiful. So I'm just going to add on to that. Inside where the wrist and hand meet. Beautiful. Now, Arav, we were talking about your dad's Apple Watch. Is that right? Is that another way that we could measure heart rate? I asked you about the watch and you said, yeah, you put it on your wrist just where the watch is anyway, and that measures heart rate that way? Yep. Has anyone measured their heart rate with a watch before? I haven't. You guys have? Yep. Do we need any specific instruction there, or we'll just write right watch? Any other ways? Is this about the watch, Harley?
Yeah, well for this watch, you
Yeah.
go into fitness,
Oh, yeah?
and then you scroll across twice, and right now mine's 78.
Okay, beautiful. And I can see the graphic right there just from where I'm standing. Cool. What is there any other way we could measure with some specific tools like a watch? Are there any other tools that measure heart rate? What's another one, Andy?
Those things that they use in the hospital when someone's in the bed and then
Oh, yeah. Okay, so there's machines that kind of graph your heart rate. Yeah, I've seen those before. I'm not sure what they're called, so I'm not going to write that down. Let's have hands up, please. Hands up. Quinn?
Stethoscopes.
Oh, a stethoscope. Tell us what a stethoscope is.
It's a thing that doctors use, so they've got like two little ear trumpet things.
Oh, nice.
And then there's this like circular bit, and you put it on your heart.
Right.
And you're supposed to hear the heartbeat through those ear things.
Yeah, excellent. I think we all can visualise what that is, can't we? If you've seen a classic picture of a doctor, they've probably got a stethoscope, haven't they? What else, Pat?
A mouse.
A mouse. Tell us about that.
Special sort of thing that you put over your heart, and the doctor can read your heartbeat.
Wow, so it's some specialised sort of surgical equipment or doctor's equipment that they put on your heart. All right, I'm going to write that down. I've not heard of that one before, so I'm learning something new today. Beautiful. What else, Patty?
I don't know what they're called. Sometimes you can put something on your thumb.
Okay.
It's a small thing, and it opens and shuts. And you open it and put your thumb in, and then you shut it, and it will tell you your heart.
Something on thumb. That is really interesting because, Edward, you were talking about feeling the pulse through your thumb earlier, weren't you? Is that what you were thinking of? Tell us what you're thinking of for how to...
I'm pretty sure there's something that goes into your wrist.
Yeah.
Like if you get injured or you've gone out to sea and you've got stuff that
Mm.
and some of the blood's left. I'm pretty sure, and they take some of your blood. Pretty sure something goes into your wrist and then it takes not really a blood test, but it takes some blood out and it can tell you also how, and it goes into your chest. It's like a big tube.
Okay.
It goes into your chest and it tells you.
Yeah, I left mine at home. I don't have that with me, unfortunately. I'm going to get you guys to practice measuring your pulse now. Would you use a stethoscope? Has everyone got their stethoscope handy? Mouse, something on the thumb? I can see maybe two here that we could try now. Which ones am I looking at, do you think? Soraya?
The two fingers on the wrist.
Yeah, probably this one here.
And press to the neck.
The neck and the wrists. But if you're someone who has a watch, maybe you could try that as well. I'm going to give you a couple of minutes. See if you can feel your heart rate through some of the ways we've described. You might even want to check your thumb to see if you can feel it. Do it now. I'm going to give you a couple of minutes. We're trying to find out how we can measure our heart rate.
You can put your finger or your thumb on your chest too, and you
Can you feel your heart beating?
like your thumb.
Your thumb?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you testing? What are you
Because
doing?
that's where the heart is.
Can you guys try and measure your pulse now? Can you feel it? What are you trying? Are you trying the wrist? Yeah. Guys, it's really important that today you know and learn how to do this. We are all practicing now.
Where are you practicing from? Hannah, where are you going to practice?
You're going to practice on your neck,
Are
or
you going to do the rest,
yeah?
or are you going to do your neck?
I found one.
You found yours? I can't find mine yet.
What to do to make like a?
Oh, I can find. I got it now.
I'm using my
You actually have to press a little bit, don't you? You have to press.
It's easier to find something here.
Is it easy to feel when you're talking or when you're quiet?
And
When I'm talking, it kind of goes away.
and it's also easier when you like pretend to be like really tired, like go.
Oh, are you saying that when your heart rate is more intense, it's easy to feel?
Because it's gone.
Alright, have you tried
Can you guys feel it?
Still can't.
Try and push a little bit further in. Try and push a little bit harder. And if you can't find that one, maybe try and find your wrist. Yeah, dig your fingers in. Keep still. You might want to try here and then try a little bit over. Try it on your other wrist. Oh, I can feel it there. Can't feel it? Your heart is beating, right? Yeah? How do you know? All right. Who managed to find their pulse through the neck strategy? Quinn, we actually had to push fairly firmly. Yeah, just hold it there. We actually had to push fairly firmly to find a good pulse. Who found the wrist method better? I can feel it right now. With the wrist method, I have to push a little bit firmly too, and I can find it over here, but I can't find it in the middle of my wrist or over on this side, which is really interesting. Did anyone find it through their thumb? No? And people with a watch, Harley, you have yours on your watch? Yeah?
My heartbeat's 72.
Perfect. 72 kilograms, centimeters.
BPM per minute.
Ah, beautiful, because that's the segue for our next point of discussion. Notice how it says, how do we measure, or how could we measure, Edward, please sit down, our heart rate? If you found your heart rate, are you measuring your heart rate?
No.
What's the difference between finding your heart rate and actually measuring it? Harley said something about beats per minute. Have you guys heard that term before? Yeah? Andy, talk to us about beats per minute. How do you actually measure your heart rate?
The way you measure your
Big,
heart
big
rate-
loud voice.
The way you measure your heart rate is by sort of knowing how many beats per minute.
Uh-huh.
So it's not like measuring as in length. It's,
Yeah.
sort of measuring how many and how long it takes for a certain amount to happen.
So beats per minute, BPM, beats per minute. I'm going to write that up here as well. BPM, beats per minute. How many seconds are in a minute?
60.
60 seconds. So how could you measure your beats per minute? Let's imagine that you could feel your pulse, your beat through your wrist. How could you measure your beats per minute? 2 risk takers, 3 risk takers. How could you measure your beats per minute? Dylan, what could you do?
Yeah.
Right, so you could get a friend to count to 60 or someone with a watch to time, and you're timing how long are you going to time? Time 1 minute, okay. So to work out our BPM, we could time 1 minute, which is 60 seconds, okay. And what would you be doing during that 60 seconds? Counting your pulse, counting your beats. So I'm just thinking about my pulse here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's how mine's going. Okay, good. Is there a different way we could do it? We certainly could do it this way. We could time 60 seconds. Do you reckon you guys could maintain your pulse and count for that duration? Or is there a different way that we could do it? Great risk taking there, Dylan. What else could we do? Edward?
For when you meant like when you could do it, you could kind of halve it so for 30 seconds, and then you could times it by how much that. So if you had 30 seconds, let's say your heart rate was like in 30 seconds, your heart rate, let's say, was 42. Okay. Now, if that happened because it's 30 seconds, and this the way of doing that would be doubling the seconds, which would be 60. And you would also double the heart rate, so it would be 82.
All right, I'm trying to follow that explanation, but what a great idea. It would be good if we could just time our BPM for 30 seconds, wouldn't it? But you said something about doubling or halving
Doubling it,
the,
that would be
the beats per
60
minute.
seconds.
Right, because 30 seconds is half of 60, isn't it? Good. So if we counted our BPM, our beats for 30 seconds, if we doubled that, that would give us our beats per minute, wouldn't it? I'm going to say that again. If we counted our beats per minute, our heartbeat, our pulse for 30 seconds and doubled it, that would give us our BPM, because 2 times 30 equals 60. 2 times 30 seconds is 60 seconds. What else could we do? That's a really good way to make it more efficient. Pat, what else could we do?
Well, this isn't a different strategy, but I disagree with Edward.
Okay, great.
That is correct, but your heart could change its rate depending. So that could be it's not correctly accurate.
Right.
What probably the answer would be.
So you could measure it for a shorter period of time,
Yeah.
but if your heart changes its rate, it wouldn't be as accurate. It would be less accurate. I see. Interesting. Would it, if we timed our BPM over an hour, would that be more accurate?
Probably, and then you divide it by.
Could you concentrate for an hour?
No.
I couldn't do that either. I see what you're saying though. Yeah, your heart rate could fluctuate. It could change a little bit. Andy, what are you thinking?
To add on to Paddy what he said, yeah, because there are some people who like change how they breathe. Like some people just breathe like normal, like, and then they might just randomly start breathing like, and that would change your heart rate.
Yeah, if we're trying to test something, and it goes back to accuracy, doesn't it? We've got to be sensible. We can't be, if we're testing intense exercise, we've got to all be doing the same thing for the same duration, don't we? More on that later. I love this idea though about using a fewer number of seconds, Edward. If we use 30 seconds and doubled our heart and doubled the heart rate that we calculate, is there something else we could do along that vein, Harley?
This isn't really answering that question, but I'm just doing Edwards in a bigger scale.
Okay.
Say that 30 seconds was 30 minutes,
Okay.
and that 42 was 420.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we wanted to do it for an hour.
Okay.
I'm kind of saying if we wanted to do it for that in an hour, when it's an hour up, it will be our heartbeats per minute will be 840.
Uh-huh.
Is it right? So if we go to the seconds, your heartbeat doesn't change really. It's just if it's like 42. If we're counting it for 60 seconds a minute, then it might go to 45, but it's not going to double.
So we're talking about increasing and decreasing our heart rate. It might increase and decrease by a small amount over that testing time, but it's not going to make a big difference.
Are you doubling it because you're counting the beats?
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah. So I think.
But we just want to know the beats. Many beats per minute.
Yeah. If we look at it this way, what about if we timed it for 15 seconds? If we just counted our beats for 15 seconds, let's say I had 10 beats in 15 seconds, how do I get the equivalent for 1 minute then? I'm counting my beats for 15 seconds. How do I get the equivalent for 1 minute? Because we're looking at beats per minute. Kira, what do I do?
You times that 15 by 4.
Great. So 15 times 4 equals the 60 seconds that we're looking for. Good. What about if I used just 10 seconds? What would I have to multiply it by then?
6.
What about then, Aisha?
6.
Why 6?
Because 10 times 6 is 60.
Because 10 times 6 is 60. Beautiful. So we've got some choices here, don't we? We could, and I'm kind of made a bit of a mess of the board, I'm afraid. We could measure our heart rate for 30 seconds, and then we could double it to get that 60 seconds. We could measure it for 15 seconds, and then times it by 4. Or we could measure it for 10 seconds, count the number of heartbeats for 10 seconds, and then multiply it by the 6, couldn't we? Or we could just do it for the 60 seconds. Now, I'd like to give you guys a couple of minutes to see what works best. Could we try that now? Yeah? Who's going to try counting for the full 60 seconds? Could I get a couple of people doing that? Hands up high. Who's going to be doing it for the 30 seconds and then doubling the number of heartbeats that you count? Could I get Kira and Soraya to do that, and Harley and Arav? Who's going to be doing it just for 15 seconds and then multiplying it what they count by 4? Could I get you 3 boys to do that? And who's going to be doing the fastest version, just counting for 10 seconds and then timesing what they count by 6? Connor and Anna. Can I get one more person to do that? Andy. Beautiful. All right. Who's doing it for 60 seconds? 30 seconds? 15 seconds? 10 seconds? All right. Let's all find our heart rate now using this strategy that you want to use.
What if you don't have any?
Here's the clock. So you can see the seconds passing. Here's the clock. Can you find your heart rate? You're doing it for 10 seconds or 15? Can you find it?
You can't count the seconds and count your pulse or heartbeat at the same time.
We need some backup, don't we? All right. All right, stop there, guys. Can I get a bit of feedback? How did people go for the minute? Were you able to count for the minute? I'm hearing from Quinn, it's really hard to count the seconds and to count your pulse at the same time. Were people using the clock? Quinn's like, oh, I should have done that. Well, I've got some iPads so we can set some timers when we're actually practicing it seriously. How did we go when we were doing the 30 seconds? Kira, how did you go?
I sort of lost track.
Right. So you lost track?
Because I did a few and then I've lost the heart rate.
So doing it a shorter amount of time might be easier. How did the 15-second people go? Hands up if you were 15 seconds. How did you guys go? Anyone want to report back? Quinn?
Like I said, I couldn't really determine the seconds from the pulse.
Okay, so not well. What about the 10-second group? Connor, how did you go?
I think I got it wrong, but I got 18 beats in 10 seconds.
What? Tell me why. Can you elaborate on why you maybe got it wrong?
Because I timed it by 6.
Times it by 6?
Yeah, 6 times 10 is 60,
Mm-hmm.
and 6 times 8 which was 48,
Yep.
and 108 is...
Right, okay. 108, if you know BPM, maybe that's high for you. Okay. What we might do then, we might just pick one to try. Because we're running short of time, can we try the 10-second one? I think that might be fastest and easiest. Okay, guys? So,
We still have 30 minutes.
We do, but we've actually got quite a bit to do. So what we're going to do here is the method that we're going to use for our experiment is to measure 10 seconds, measure our pulse in 10 seconds, and then multiply it by 6 to get our BPM. Okay? So that's the one we're going to try. We don't want to have to redo it like Kira did if we're losing our pulse halfway through, do we? All right, so that's the method we're going to use. 10 seconds and then timesing it by 6. Okay? Hang on, Miles. Let's jet through this because we are getting behind here. So the next thing that we're going to figure out is that word. We're going to come back to this word intensity. When Victor and I were talking about intensity, we were talking about running, and we thought that intense running was sprinting, running really, really fast. Can you have high intensity, though, and low intensity? You can, can't you? We are going to test 3 different intensities: resting, moderate or medium intensity, and high intensity. Okay? For resting, I'm thinking that it'd be really good to calmly sit down, which is pretty much what we're doing, okay, to get our resting heart rate. What would be a good medium intensity exercise that we could do in the classroom where we could measure if our heart rate increases or decreases? What would be a good medium intensity exercise? Miles?
Walking around.
Yeah, cool. We could walk around, couldn't we? Let's add that in. And what about a high intensity exercise? What could we do there? Because we couldn't really sprint inside the classroom, could we, Vic? So walking around. Who's got a really good high intensity? Harley? Sorry? Star jumps would be great, wouldn't it? Star jumps. Beautiful. Star jumps. So for this to work, because we're just testing the one variable, we want to know how our heart rate changes, Connor, to intensity. We want to have everything else the same. The method of recording our BPM, okay, this method down here has got to be the same. We're all going to, Connor, use the same method. We want to have the same group roles. I'm going to split you up in 3s in a moment. We're going to have one recorder, okay, someone who is who's recording the timer, and then the test subject, okay? So someone who's doing the counting, that's the test subject, the timer, and the recorder is the person who's going to be recording the data, recording what they find, all right? And finally, the intensity and the duration of the activities needs to be the same as well. If we're walking, can we have people speed walking and then people walking like this? We've got to be walking at the same intensity, don't we? Sit down, please. No, you sit down here.
I can't see.
Thank you. All right. And for our high intensity, are we going to need to do the star jumps at the same rate? Yeah. We're going to do the same intensity with our star jumps. That's important too, isn't it? All right. So I might get your help, Miss Schlack, just to hand these out. I am going to put you into teams. Everybody's going to get one of these. And the first thing I want you to do is decide who is going to be the test subject, who's going to be recording their pulse, who's going to be the timekeeper, the timer. So you go to, on your iPad, okay, and just hit the clock, all right? And then if you go to stopwatch and then say ready, set, go, how long are you going to time for? 10 seconds. And then stop, and then they write down what their rate was, multiply it by 10. How many beats did they count? Multiply it by 10, okay? All right, and then the recorder is the person who writes down the information. One thing I want is names, okay, on here.
Aren't they multiplying by 6? They're timing over 10 seconds and multiplying their answer by 6 to get what it would be in 60 seconds.
In 60 seconds, exactly right, yeah. Did I say 10?
Yes.
Ah, my bad. By 6, that's right. All right, so if you could hand those out for me real quick, and I'm looking for questions, guys, not anything else. Edward, what do you want to know?
It's like a thing that I want to tell the class, which is
No, I'm looking for questions. Sorry to stop you, just for time.
So do you get one between everyone in
Everyone gets their own because you are all going to have a turn to record your own data.
of each
Okay?
category?
Yeah. So I'd like you all guys to have a turn being the timer of recording the data and being the test subject. So hopefully, Anna, you'll be able to find your pulse when it's your turn. But if you can't, it's not the end of the world. Okay? All right. Can I have these people going together? And remember, guys, we're in 4-5. We can work well no matter who luck assigns us to. Make sure you've got a big smile on your face, okay? And tell yourself those positive messages. Can we have Esther, Michelle, Soraya, okay? Harley, Patty, Kiraby. Can you guys team up? One of you, the timer, can come and grab an iPad. Vic, Aisha, Christina,
What?
Miles, Edwards, Kira M, Blaze, Dylan, and Abigail's next door, and Quinn. Arav, Ishi, Gemma. The Andes and Nikita. Pat, Sage, Connor, Anna. I'm going to pop you with Pat, Sage and Connor, okay?
Mr. Davies, if you come and
Stay in the classroom so the camera can get you. Stay in the classroom so the camera can get you. I'm wondering why you're over here. Hey guys, who's going to be the timer first? Who's our test subject?
I don't know. I need to find my pulse. I haven't been
Alright,
able
can Nikita be the test subject? Have you found your pulse? And you're the recorder, okay? So, can you write Nikita's name here? Or have you already written your name down? Nikita's name there? Beautiful. So stopwatch? No. Go to stopwatch. Just go to stopwatch. Alright, if you want to do a 10-second timer, you can do it there. Alright, who's the third person in the trio here? Ishi? Have you guys got your pieces of paper? Alright, you're all going to have a turn. Who's going to be the timer first? Can it be Arav because he's got the iPad? Who's going to be the test subject? Have you found your pulse? You found your pulse? You found your pulse? Right in there. Can you feel it? Yeah? And you're recording the information? Great. Can you write Gemma's name on there? Alright, team. Timekeeper first. Who's our test subject? Yeah, beautiful. And how are you going to be recording your pulse? The neck? Yeah, so, right, yeah. Can you feel it? You can feel it? And you're recording the data, okay? Can you use Christina's? Beautiful. All right. Once Christina's got a firm read, you can say go, and then you can start counting.
1, 2, 3.
Just call out stop. I'll wait 10 seconds.
Stop.
How many? All right, start again. Reset. Make sure you can find it. You got it in there. All right. Hey, champions. Have you done round one?
How do you stop the timer?
Oh, no, guys. We haven't done the medium or the high intensity yet. We haven't done that one yet. Yeah. No. La 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 la. Shh. Guys, freeze where you are. Freeze right where you are. Now, just to be clear, have we done our medium or high intensity yet? No, this is your resting, and I should have said this. This is my mistake. The subject should be doing what? The test subject should be calmly sitting down, okay? Remember, the variable is intensity, okay? We want our resting to be calmly sitting down. So it's different. So it's different to our moderate and our high intensity. So I do apologise. Can we have our... Guys, Connor. Can we have our test subject calmly sitting down, please? And then redo that. Nikita, over here. Show me your 2 fingers. Let's do your neck. Can you feel that? Yeah? Good. So you got to push it in, don't you? 11 BPM. Beautiful. Whose turn is it next? Who's the next test subject? All right. And what's Esther doing next? Esther's recording. Oh, timing. All right.
No, it's already.
Where are we up to? I don't want to see that open, Dylan. Whose turn is it, guys? 84. You're resting. Beautiful. And we're doing blazers now. Have you got it? All right.
Redo it. There's no way you could have gotten 120.
You counted 11. So what do you do now? Over 10 seconds, it was 11. But over 60 seconds, times it by 6. What's 11 times 6? So your BPM, beats per minute, is 66 seconds. Andy, did you count 11? Come here, bud. Andy. Oh, that's you. Oh, so if you counted 11... Beautiful. So your BPM, beats per minute, is 66. Good. What was yours? 66 as well? Is that you? Can you write your name on the top? Yeah, I should have explained that. So what did you notice about your body? What did you hear? What did you feel? Just neutral? So your face wasn't hot, you didn't have shortness of breath or anything like that? All right, guys, I'm going to give you 1 more minute. Everyone should have their resting pulse rates. Everyone should have their resting heart rates. Are you doing yours again? Oh, we're doing it together. We're going to do it together. La 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 la. All right. Guys, can I have everyone bobbing down where they are, please? And I want whole body listening right now. Shh. All right. Give me a double thumbs up if you successfully recorded your resting heart rate. All right. I noticed that some people have numbers like 11. Is that your resting beats per minute? No, that's your resting beats per 10 seconds. Remember, you need to times the heart rate that you count in 10 seconds by 6 to get your beats per minute. All right. Guys, we're going to together do the moderate or the medium intensity heart rate, okay? So, whoever is the test subject, who's still talking? Whoever is the test subject, can you stand up with me, please? Test subject, stand up. Everyone else should be bobbing down. All right. And we're going to be doing this. Shh. Guys, eyes, Connor. We're going to be doing this, marching on the spot like this, okay? For 1 minute. Freeze for 1 minute. And then we're going to be testing our pulse rate then, okay? So I want the timer ready, and I want the person who's recording, the recorder, ready to record the data. Recorder, you should have the slip for the person who's up here, okay? All right, are we ready? 1 minute. Shh, 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 shh. Can I have a timekeeper? Patty, ready? Tell us when to start.
3, 2, 1, go.
And go. All right, stop. Let's start again. You've got to measure your pulse, guys. Okay. Has everyone got their pulse?
Let me just try and find it. It's for 10 seconds.
10 seconds or 1 minute?
No, just for 1 minute of exercise. Oh, no, guys. Sorry. No. Yeah. No, you're right. We're going to do our exercise. Then we're going to stop and measure our pulse. All right, I got that wrong. Okay. All right, 1 minute. Normal marching. You don't need to measure your pulse, but you can if you want to. All right.
3, 2, 1, go.
All right, I'm looking to just check that we're marching in the same intensity. Some people are looking more and less animated. Pretty good. Guys look fabulous. And I'm just recording what I'm hearing. I can hear some laboured breathing now. Edward, make sure you're marching. How are we going, timekeeper?
20 more seconds.
All right. And get ready to walk back to your station.
No, 7, 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep
All right.
going and stop.
And march back to your stations, guys. Start finding your pulse rate, your heart rate. Ready, timekeeper, for 10 seconds. Ready, timekeeper, for 10 seconds. Arav, find your heart rate. Have you got it? Have you got it? Have you got it? 10 seconds. We're about to start.
But why can't I get it?
She's about to say go.
No, why can't I just get
Arav.
it from my here?
Either way. Have you got it? Okay. Whichever way he wants. Yeah. Oh, no, you know what to do now, don't you? Just make sure it's a minute. Kira, we might do it all together. Yeah.
But like working in groups, like do we do
the same person. Yes, I'm the test subject.
We're about to do the next person's moderate heart rate.
Even though I still get their pulse done too.
Sorry?
There's a time I still get their pulse done too.
We're all going to get all 3 variables done. All 3 intensities done. Sorry?
For everyone.
For everybody, yeah. We're going to do it together again. La 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 la. Shh, 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 shh. All right. Freeze. Can I have the next person from each group up the front, please? Test subject number 2, come on up. Timer, be ready. Patty, you're going to give us a minute again?
I'll do it.
Beautiful.
Use not stopwatch, because then it's not
All right. Have I got the second person from each team?
I'll be a timer.
Ready?
Shh.
And all
3, 2, 1, go.
right, start marching. 1 minute. Good. Now, guys, while you're marching, remember the I notice column. You might start thinking about what you notice about your body, what you notice about your temperature. Is your face getting hot or not? Are you finding it harder to breathe or not? Great.
20 seconds.
Just listen to Patty, guys. We just want one timekeeper.
15, 14, 10, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, end.
All right, go get your pulse measured.
Went to 0, and then I paused it and it went back to 1.
Have you got your heart rate? Have you guys measured yours? Alright, this should have been set up already, bud. Have you got it? Alright. And can I have the last person up the front, please, when you're ready?
Oh yeah, because we have 4 and I'll do. Okay,
Beautiful. So guys, I love the teams who are getting the timer ready ahead of time. So when the test subject comes down, all they have to do is click start, okay? If someone has to wait, Andy, until they've set the timer up, they are not doing their moderate exercise anymore, and perhaps their heart rate is already going down. Okay, remember we're looking for accuracy. Has everyone, apart from the people up the front, done the walking? Beautiful. All right. Where's Patty? Oh, Patty's up here. Quinn, can you do it? Beautiful. Ready?
3, 2, 1, go.
Set your timer up. Everyone should be setting their timers up. All right, we all marching to the same intensity? Pretty good.
Sounds the same.
It's definitely to the same rhythm, isn't it? All right, give us 10 seconds warning, Quinn.
Yeah, in
Now.
10 seconds now. Count now. 10,
2, 3, 7, 6,
5,
4,
3, 2,
1.
and
All
stop.
right, and go and get your final measurement of the afternoon.
Don't look at the thing to get your heart rate up.
All right, she's waiting for you. All right, we all done? Beautiful. Can I have your iPad, please? Can I have your iPad, please? Now you're all done? Oh, what's a good strategy to figure that one out?
We do high intensity.
Or just do 4 times 5.
And then,
And then you do 4 times.
have a think, and we could talk about that up the front. Not right now. La 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 la. Shh, 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 shh. All right. Guys, can I please have all the iPads back? And can you please take your slip back to your table, okay? We've reached the end of the day. We're going to have to pause there. There's one more thing I want to talk about though. So take your slip back to your table, and I would like the iPads to me, please. Shh. Thank you. Hold on to it at your table.
I'm just gonna pop it in my tub.
No, I don't want you to pop it away. I don't want you to pop it away.
Is that my name?
Hold on to it at your table. All right.
Since we had 4 people in our group, we didn't
Oh, I understand. Of course. I'd forgotten about that.
Where do we put these?
Simon says do this. Shh, 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 shh. Simon says do this. Simon says sit at your table. Miles, fantastic. Well done, the front row here. Beautiful. Great job, middle row. Excellent. Thanks, Connor. I do acknowledge that your team of 4 will have one person who didn't get to do that. My apologies there. But everybody else should have a resting heart rate and a moderate or medium intensity heart rate. We're going to unfortunately have to catch up tomorrow, and Wanty, you're back tomorrow afternoon, and we're going to have to pick up from where we left off. But before we do, put up your hand if your resting heart rate was less than 50. Shh. Put your hand up if your resting heart rate was less than 50 beats per minute. One person, hands down. Less than 55 beats per minute. Less than 55 beats per minute. Still you. 60 beats per minute or less. 60 beats per minute or less. So we've got 3 people now. Interesting. 65 beats per minute or less. Check your resting heart rate on your slip. 70 beats per minute or less. Lots of people now. You as well, Dylan. 75 beats per minute or less. 80 beats per minute or less. Hands up if yours was 80 beats per minute. You should still have your hand up, Nikita. 80 beats per minute or less, Pat. What's your beats per minute?
60.
That's less than 80, isn't it? Yeah, good. Does anyone have a BPM of more than 80? Wow. Hands down. So I wonder why. And I'm going to write another word here. Why would we have such a range in resting heart rates? We were all calmly sitting on a seat or on the floor. We all managed to find our heart rate in the way that works best for us. We all measured it for 10 seconds and then multiplied by 6. Why have we got such a range, do you think, from 50 beats per minute or so from Dylan to over 90? That's a huge range. What accounts for that range, do you think? What are you thinking, Aisha?
Like the noise.
Sorry?
The noise.
The noise. Are you saying that the noise in some groups elevated, increased some people's heart rate? Ooh, maybe. Connor, what are you
Some
thinking?
people might have looked at the timer and it might have, since the timer goes really fast, it might have increased their heart rate.
Right, so some people could have been given an extra second with which to count maybe an extra beat or two?
And also maybe since the timer is going really fast, it might have made them a little bit more it might have made the heart go a little bit more.
Okay, so there could be some errors or some inaccuracies in our method, couldn't there? What about physiologically? What could account physiologically in our bodies? What could account for such a range? Kira? I'll come back to you. Gemma? Big loud voice. Some people could have been breathing faster. Okay. Is there some kind of a relationship between breathing and heart rate?
Yeah.
Are they the same thing?
No.
So they're a different thing, but they have a relationship of some kind. Okay, interesting. Guys, we're going to have to stop there. Please just leave your slip of paper on top of your table. I will collect those up at the end. Grab your bags. We'll be doing some similar things tomorrow, yes. No, they'll be back in the morning. Things will be normal in the morning. I'm not sure if Scott wants to leave his...